Blog Talk Radio.
Today is Sunday, July 23rd, 2016, and school is officially in. Whoa!
I thought we had it right.
Something wrong with this job.
That's gonna be our only laugh for today, probably.
Oh.
Welcome to the show. School's in. I'm Mitch, and I am with my illustrious co-host, as always, the you never systemically racist Aaron.
Hello, y'all. What's up?
And the never institutionalized and how you doing?
Never hold it down. Hold it down.
And today we're talking about a pretty somber topic, the prison, race, and politics show, and we're talking about the prison industrial complex, unfortunately, because systemic racism still exists in this country, and it affects lots of things. It affects our whole lives, actually.
It's day to day.
And it affects hip-hop, too, which we'll talk about, later on. But first, we got to kind of break down what all the hoopla is about the prison system, because a lot of people don't really even understand how heavy this shit really gets.
There's a lot going on.
So if you did your homework, we watched 13th, the documentary by Ava DuVernay, and some of us read partially Michelle Alexander's The New Jim Crow, which are both pretty deep. And just to start off, some statistics which are alarming and shocking. 5% of the world's population is, I think, 5% of the world's population is in prisons on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
But 25% of the people on the planet that are in prison are coming from us. It's from the U.S. We have the highest rate of incarceration in the entire world.
Yep.
Which is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they said 40% of that was black people.
Yep. And you're going to ask yourself why. Of course, it's easy just to say, you know what? Those black folks, they just be doing stuff. They just be getting thrown in prison. It's not as simple as all that.
No.
So, starting back in the very beginning, even before our tenure in this country during slavery, there were two things, and we've talked about this before on our colorism show. When you come and you settle a country, or you wanting to settle the country, or you wanting to build it, you need people to labor for you. You can't build with no labor, right?
Right.
So how are you going to do that? Cheaply.
Not going to pay everybody.
Well, it used to be that being an indentured, slave, like, or an indentured slave or an indentured servant would be the way you would, kind of get that done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Could you explain that for the listeners more? Because I don't think people understand. I think people get indentured servant mixed up with being an actual slave.
Being an indentured servant is very different than being a slave in that indentured servitude, there is a chance for you to work until you pay off whatever it is that you owe, or whatever it is that you know, like some people who came over from different countries didn't have the money to pay for their passage to America, like some of the immigrants, and they entered in the contracts that were like that as well. But it was like for a certain amount of years or a certain amount of money, and or both. So
right.
there was an ending. There's a beginning and an ending to your work. It's not going to be for the rest of your life.
So it's basically like, you know, somebody that came over to this country that didn't have anything, that worked their way into having something.
Exactly.
They came over with that contract established too.
And being an indentured servant, you can do that. But that right there, again, that's going to be more money. So you're trying to get free labor here. So we talked about this before. When humans want to do bad shit, they have to have a reason to do it, because everybody wants to do bad shit, but they don't want to be a bad person. That's one of the most fucked up things about humans. Everybody wants to do bad shit, but they don't want to be labeled a bad person. I'm not a bad person because I did this and this. And no, you probably are a bad person. But when people want to do bad shit, they find reasons to. So they have to look at people as an other, as we've spoken about before, so they can subjugate them. Now, you can't do that to the Native Americans, because they were kind of outnumbered, and the natives were already here, so they had the home court advantage. They had already been here forever. They knew this territory.
Right.
You weren't gonna get them. So when they did have indentured service too, one of the things that happened that I was talking to Anthony and Aaron about was the uprising in Virginia, Bacon's Rebellion, that was led by Nathaniel Bacon against the governor William Berkeley. It was against rich landowners, and it was actually indentured servants who aligned themselves with Africans. Most of them were either enslaved until death, or they were freed after they were done. But they were in bond servitude, the same thing we were talking about earlier. They weren't quote unquote slaves, they were in bond servitude. But it was an economic uprising. So it didn't matter what color you were, it was a class struggle. Right. But it's always a class struggle, and that's what people are always not really wanting to talk about, because that scares the rich white man. The rich white man does not want other people aligning themselves with people who are like them, because then we'll outnumber them and we'll be able to overturn their power. So they have to find a way to divide and conquer.
I think that's where racism comes in.
Yeah, that is where racism comes in. But what I wanted to know is because that Bacon Rebellion situation, it is kind of, I don't want to turn it into like a joke or anything, but like it was kind of funny, like the way they talk about how he died. Like, do they ever explain like, you know, how he died? Because all I got from it was that, you know, he died taking a shit. And it was like,
oh no!
Yeah, it sounded like some shady shit. Like somebody set him up. It was an inside job or something.
You know what? That could have been, but I never did. Get a clear on that.
Yeah, they pretty vague about it.
What, though? They right, but you know what? I would gather to say, I bet you that there was definitely some kind of foul play.
foul play afoot.
Why you had to go out like that though? That's crazy.
Well, I mean, that's the best time to get somebody.
Hey, yeah. By way of Styles P.
Because that's when they're like vulnerable, you know. That's like when they're the most vulnerable, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? The times to get you when you're most vulnerable are when you're either using the bathroom, sleeping, or having sex.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like horrible. But so after those, and that rebellion, it spread like throughout some of the other colonies, and it took a couple of years for them to squash that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like England was still like we hadn't gone through the Revolutionary War yet, and England was, you know, we were still sworn fealty to England, and they had to send in forces to help break the shit up. So in order to end that kind of thing, so it doesn't happen again, you know, what the new Jim Crow talks about is getting like Africans, our ancestors to come over, because they didn't speak English, so they can't align themselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
With other people, and they're coming to a land that they are unfamiliar with. They don't know this territory. They're at a disadvantage. So, and then they set those indentured white people, and or just the lower class whites, period. They set them apart from us by like breaking down some of those class struggles by just giving them what they call their whiteness, which we're always talking about. What is that? That means they eliminated all those ethnicity lines, like you're Scottish or
Right.
I'm English, and you know he's Polish and they're French. They're like, okay, we're just all gonna be white. Just check the white box.
Right. And the real enemy is over here.
Well, it doesn't matter. To this day, they're gonna want to be white. That's why they're always voting against their best interests. Why they're in that, because being white is so important to them. They want to be part of the club, but they'll never. But it's like you're not really gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
You might be. Not really, because they're like, that's why they're pissed about other people who don't look like them, who seem to be doing better than them, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, wait a minute, I got this white card. What's the fucking problem here? Like, why is my whiteness not working?
Right.
My whiteness is supposed to work. like white card is a thing. It's like you know, we always talk about having black cards. Like having a white card is really a thing, though. It's like it's supposed to work for them.
Yeah. What kills me is the people that try to front like it isn't, though. Like it's like, you know, things aren't like that anymore and all that. Like I was watching
racism doesn't exist.
Right, like I was watching the reaction video. That reaction video on Jay-Z's story of OJ, and like a lot of the older white people were like, they were like offended, like, oh, I thought we were past all this and all that type of shit.
I said too. I was like, but no, but a couple of them were like, nope, that's how shit still is.
Right. Right, yeah, I dig the part, but what I think it is a lot of times, the people that feel offended are the ones that don't want to, you know what I'm saying? It's that denial thing. It's like, you know, like why we gotta talk about this? Why we gotta bring that up? Like, why can't we just like sweep it under the rug and it's over and it's done, and it's done with?
We can't do that because after slavery, and I mean, just imagine. The slaves get free, and instantly, nobody works on a plantation anymore.
Right.
Everybody's just wandering around. Some people did stay on their plantations, and they, like the owners offered them, you know, like paltry jobs or like, you know, jobs like sharecropping or whatever. But I mean, you gotta figure these white folks in the South, they're like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Just release all these Negroes walking around here. So all of a sudden, what's your first emotion gonna be? It's probably gonna be fear mixed with guilt.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to come up with another system to control them. You can't just let them run free. They can't just become part. They can't become part of us. Just live with us. Like we treated them like shit forever. We beat them and whipped them. They gonna kill us in our sleep because you fucking deserve to be killed in your sleep.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing that bothers me about that type of mentality. That's that in denial mentality. That's like, well, that stuff should be over and we shouldn't be talking about it anymore, because that's the same type of person that's gonna pull that white card when it's convenient for them to use.
Yeah.
That's what pisses me off about that. That's the point I was trying to make with that.
No, I get that, but that's the reason why. It's because, like I said earlier, humans don't give a shit about doing bad shit. They just don't want to get labeled as a bad person for it.
Right, yeah.
They don't want to take the responsibility.
No. They want to do the shit. They want to fucking treat you like shit in second class and not even second, because, we weren't even a full person in fucking Constitution. 13th is about the amendment that it took to make us a full constitutional human.
Right.
Why does there need to be an amendment for that?
Because originally we were only 3/4 of a person. That's why.
Right.
So they had to
amend. That was only convenient for the war.
That too. And so then when the 13th Amendment came into play, see, now again, every time somebody takes 2 steps up, they're going to pull you 3 steps back. When you don't have people, enslaved anymore, they got to figure out, well, how are we going to do this new thing so we can make sure we still get, our labor. Like, somebody needs to be our laboring class.
Uh-huh.
It's all economic. So they're like, how do we now, continue with this tradition? Okay, well, we'll just shift it. And like the dude said in 13th, he was like, you just shift the narrative a little bit. Now what you have is all this propaganda, like Birth of a Nation, the original one, that had all the scary black people in it.
Oh, man,
and they're all these scary black men are out there lurking in the dark, and they're gonna come and creep in your houses and rape your white women. Like, dude, nobody fucking wanted your white women. But that's what you think they're gonna do, because that's what fucking you would do. That's why. That's what you would do. So you think that's what they would do. Yup, because they did it. Now they think, oh, okay, they gonna do what we did.
Right.
And then all of a sudden the KKK comes in to save the day. So now you have the rise of the KKK, the rise of all of these lynchings. Between the Reconstruction and World War II periods, the lynchings were like innumerous. It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
All those black folks that migrated from the South, a lot of them were migrating to get away from the lynchings, not just to get jobs. They were leaving the South for their own protection.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
So then after that, when they came in with Reconstruction, they got some better laws together, and some black folks actually got a little bit more power. But of course, the Southern whites couldn't have that shit. So in comes Jim Crow. Jim Crow came in after convict leasing. Convict leasing was what was done right after the slaves were free. Like, you were walking around and you didn't have a job, you got convicted and criminalized. Right. And mass incarcerated so you could do their work. And they will have you doing work until you die. And this shit has been going on forever. We've always been criminalized.
Right. But that's the thing, like, people don't realize that the narrative had to be painted that way by people that knew better. so that so that things could keep working like that. It's like and I think I talked about this before. I was watching Hidden Figures, and it's the part where Taraji, I forget what her character name was. She had to use the bathroom. She was on a job, and she had to use the bathroom, but she couldn't use their bathroom because she was black. Yeah. So she had to travel. She had to walk for like a certain amount of miles, and it took her, forever to get back to the job. So eventually, the boss or the supervisor or whatever, he asking her like where she going for long periods of time, and she went off on him, and she basically was like, I can't use the bathroom here. Y'all treat me like I'm not even a person. Like, like people act like they scared to drink from the same coffee container as me and all that type of stuff. And it's like, so what's the, like, and I do good work here. So what's the problem with me, taking that walk to go to the damn bathroom? So this is the part that pisses me off. He goes to the bathroom and rips the sign down that says whites only.
What? Yeah.
And now all of a sudden everybody looking and they like, oh, okay, I guess that can be a thing. And that's the thing that pissed me off, because I feel like a lot of black people would look at that and say, oh, that's a decent white man for overlooking. No, fuck him, because it was only that just paint the picture for me of somebody better. You know the real situation, but you one of the people that's in that realm that knows the difference, but because it's convenient for you, you change the narrative for your convenience.
But you got to remember that that's the kind of shit people are always going to do. It's what we do that shit right now. Like, I mean, we aren't going to talk about how we all sitting on some conflict minerals right now doing this show.
Yeah.
But that shit is convenient for us. So
yeah.
Everybody is always subjugating somebody or something. It's unfortunately, it's the way we humans are, but we need to do better. And this show is about that. It's about everybody needing to fucking do better. Like, we all need to do better. We can't let like this kind of shit continue to go on. But you know what? The thing is, eventually, when this shit does come down, because it's gonna come down hard and heavy. Because they've been skirting this shit for a long time. Like I said, after Jim Crow, we were fighting for our civil rights. After civil rights, during civil rights, and y'all saw in the 13th movie that all of a sudden, because it was taboo to say certain things, like you couldn't just run after niggers with a noose anymore, right?
Right. Right.
So you heard Nixon's strategists talking, and he was saying, now you have to use certain words. You have to say stuff like law and order, and war on drugs, and criminal, and crime. So you don't say black people anymore, or say nigger with a noose. You say all these other things that still mean subjugation.
Right.
So then they started recruiting all those people because Democrats, what folks don't know too is that Democrats and Republicans used to be, the parties used to be switched.
Yeah.
And so the Republicans were more like how Democrats are now.
Abe Lincoln was
the
a
Democrats, and Democrats were like Republicans are now. They were racist, and they were like rich, and they were like, tons of them were Klansmen, and y'all saw that too. How many people were actually in the Klan that were into politics? Like the Klan used to be all into politics. Not saying used to, but they're probably still there, just calling it something different now.
They said at one point 358 of delegates were Klansmen.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yes, it is.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, so, you got to think, while this is all going on, and Nixon is, he's running on the whole law and order platform, all that meant to them, and they said it flat out, their point was to target the civil rights movement by attaching heroin to black people and to attack the anti-war / hippies movement by attaching marijuana to them. So this war on drugs, it's not a war on drugs, it's a fucking war on people, and it always has been. Then you flip to Reagan, and that was during my time period. Like, everybody my age, we all remember how fucking crooked Reagan was. So every time they was like, Ronald Reagan is this, and we can't fucking stand his ass. He declared a fucking war on drugs before crack ever even entered the building. How the fuck do you know that that shit is gonna be a thing?
Right, ain't that crazy?
Setting the stage, laying the foundation.
It's because he already knew the shit was gonna be a thing. They already knew it was gonna be a thing. Then all of a sudden, crack came on the scene.
There's prominence for it.
And crack had way more potency, but it also carried heavier drug sentences. And like they were saying in the 13th, it wasn't like they were just having like a rhetoric about having a war on drugs. That shit was a war on drugs. This motherfucker was bringing tanks to people's houses. That's what Public Enemy and NWA were fucking talking about. If you've ever seen some of those hip hop docs where they like talked about, you know, LA and gangs, and they were sending fucking tanks to your crib.
Right, yeah, they talk about all that stuff heavily.
And like one of the times, him and Nancy was out there with the cops, like, oh, look what we did. We went. I was like, oh my fucking, like, I just wanted to. I can't. I just don't care. And then later on, the CIA admitted that it flooded our community with crack to fund its war.
I think we already knew, though.
But you knowing in your head and then having that shit be confirmed for you 100%.
Yeah.
Man, get the fuck out of here. So that's why in like hip hop, in my generation, you'll have everybody talking real sideways and ugly and nasty about Ronald and Nancy Reagan, because you gonna talk about some fucking war on drugs and just say no bullshit, and your husband's a fucking crack dealer. Because if you think the president did not know what the fucking CIA was doing, you done lost your mind.
Right. But that's where like the importance of them dividing people come into play, because if we didn't have that separation the way it was, you wouldn't have people saying that, you know, like it's still people out there now. There's like stuff we saying right now, they like, oh, that's just crazy, that's not happening. Of course it seems like it's not happening if you don't have to deal with it personally, if you don't see your family members in and out of jail, if you don't see your friends in and out of jail, or, you know, getting locked up back to back and all that type of stuff, of course it don't seem real. It just look like, you know,
it's a movie
people talking out of their ass, because you don't have to deal with the statistics or the reality of it.
Very true. That's very true. But I mean, you look at every president, because then even fucking Newt Gingrich was like, yeah, we probably shouldn't have I was like, did Newt Gingrich just say this shit?
Yes, he did. On film.
On film, Newt Gingrich said we shouldn't have made like regular coke and crack different at all. In retrospect.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, get the fuck out of here. Y'all knew that shit was wrong when you were doing it.
Agreed.
You knew it, you were wrong when you were doing it.
Anything to get that election.
And coming down to the next president, Bill Clinton.
Get those profits pumping.
And they're fucking super predators.
And Cops.
Now, you know what?
I knew I didn't like Cops for a reason. That TV show, Cops.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
I can never.
I don't like that shit either. My God, my aunt loves that show.
Oh my goodness, yo! It's another John out like right now. It's called Bait Car.
I've seen that.
That shit is fucking ridiculous. Like they got like these cars. They got these cars. Yeah, they got these cars just sitting out there open, running and shit. And then they wait for people to take them in like certain areas, and they wait for people to come and steal them or whatever so they can catch them. I'm like, this shit is exploitation like a motherfucker. Like, what the hell?
It's entrapment.
Yeah, right? But you know what? And we talked about so much. They throw rocks and hide their hands. That's how they handle everything. It's like right. Somebody, you and somebody standing there or whatever, and they slap you in the back of the head and tell you other person did it. So they can start a fight. And then they charge people to watch it. That's what they do.
Right. Ain't that crazy?
Look, there are some things in this fucking world that should not be privatized, that should not be business. And one of those things is the enslavement of a whole people just so you can have free fucking next to nothing labor. Okay? Because all that fucking locking up that they do of us, they went from Jim Crow to locking us all up.
Right.
Back to incriminating black men, making them look all scary. Like every time you see some criminal on TV, they give you the darkest, most horrible picture of what this black man, looks like. Because that's their fucking boogeyman. Mm-hmm. It's what they see in their nightmares.
Sad. That's depressing and sad.
I mean, to the point that, like, one of the ladies was saying, and she's right, that we're scared of us. It's not just white people.
That's the narrative they pushing.
Look, I'm more scared of a white man than I am of some black dude.
I'm more scared of white women.
As you should be.
Especially if they get out.
White women.
I don't know why black dudes are so comfortable with white women. Like, I would be shaking in my boots when I saw one. Like, I'd be like, yo, hey there, sister. I'm gonna need you to direct that shit that way. Cause as soon as they go, he pissed me off. All they gotta do is to somebody you fucking right, and then it's fucking Emmett Till all over again, right?
Yeah.
And that shit right there.
Yeah. That lady should have been got charged with something.
You found out she's dead now, though, I think.
No, she's still alive. She just confessed that she lied.
No, I thought she was dead. I thought she confessed on her fucking deathbed.
Oh, she might have confessed on her deathbed. I don't know.
All I heard was that she confessed.
She should have been charged though a long time ago.
She lied. She was lying.
She lied.
Yeah.
And that was like the start of the civil rights movement. People, credit that as being the start of the civil rights movement. And his mom allowed his body to be seen, and you've seen those pictures. You've seen those pictures.
Props to his mother, big time.
I can't, like, even now with, like, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Philando Castile out in Sterling. Like, I don't even know how you could do it.
No.
Yeah. Like I told y'all before, at this point, it just seemed like the whole judicial system is just like trolling now. Like they just like, it's like for anybody you feel like deserve that extra time, they just let them go. You know what I'm saying? Just ahead, like it's to the point where it's like it seemed like it's being done to rile people up, to put the focus in like in other directions and stuff like that. Cause I don't know, it just seemed crazy to me. Like they letting all types of people out. Like I don't even want to bring up who, but I don't know. It just seemed like another tactic. Like what the media been doing to just like throw people's attention.
I'm watching that case with that Australian woman that got killed by the cops. Cause I feel like something's finally gonna happen now.
But
They fucked up and killed the blonde-haired white woman.
but it's not just regular people on the street, folk on the street that they demonize and criminalize. Like, look at all of our black leaders. Look at Fred Hampton here in Chicago. You know, look at Angela Davis. They try to demonize her. Look at Malcolm Martin, Assata Shakur. Look what they do when you try to rear up against them.
Right. That's the crazy part about it. Like, I done already read Assata Shakur's book, but like, yeah, every time I turn around, it seems like every year is always something being pushed into effect to, let's get her from Cuba. You still trying to catch somebody from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
30, 40. It's like
public. I mean, number one, and she ain't done shit to y'all like that.
Right. That's the craziness of it. It's just like you still trying to catch somebody from 30 years ago.
So
they got something to prove.
And you got criminals over here running around that you let off, that you let off,
playing in the NFL.
Oh God.
But see, they aren't anyone that's interrupting the status quo, and that's the problem.
Right.
Remember where it said J. Edgar Hoover actually called the Black Panthers the worst threat to democracy of like all time. Like, how the fuck can that?
That should have been a red flag to the rest of the country. What do you mean?
But no, because look at how they are. Look at the reactions when Beyonce did Formation. Yeah, look at what happened.
Exactly.
Look at how many white folks like, oh my God.
Right. That's the craziness of it, because like for everybody that like, and I kind of appreciated that, because for everybody that was in the dark about, you know, how, you know, this racism isn't real anymore and it's not going on, like the reactions of people when Beyonce did that performance should have told people everything. Told people everything. Like that shit is still alive and kicking. You know what I'm saying? The perception of, you know, what black people are, what they're supposed to be. Even the thing with Kaepernick, like Kaepernick, and the way he being treated, just for sitting down, just for I'm not standing up during the flag. It's like we gonna turn you into a monster because you don't respect this flag. That type of shit is crazy.
It's not really about that flag. It's not about that flag.
What he's protesting too, like just disregarding it. Like the flag was a distraction from the actual issue.
Flag. Yeah, it isn't the flag at all. It's not that, oh, you don't respect this flag. It's like, you don't respect this white dick. That's what it really is.
Right. That's really what the narrative is, for real. Like, that shit is crazy, man.
And I hate having to break it down and make it that. I mean, I hate having to make it that crass, but that's basically what it boils down to in a nutshell. Is you need to respect these white nuts. That's what it is.
My single least favorite reaction to that whole situation is shut up and play the sport.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut up, Negro.
And play the sport. Be happy that you have a platform.
Hey, what did everybody think about what's the name in response to that? And we're all Philadelphians and or former Philadelphians. What did you think about what Mike Vick said?
Sipping that Kool-Aid, Kaepernick had the perfect response.
He was like, he was like, your ass is brainwashed.
He's been effectively castrated.
Yep.
Right.
And you know what's crazy about that? Because like I said, like, because it's not as like Ms. Mitchell was saying earlier, because it's not as blatant as it used to be, and it's just like certain little things that, you know, people that know understand. It's like that's just the result of him being whipped by the system, and, you know, all right, now my name is Toby. You know what I'm saying? But
that's
because
exactly
it's not
what it is, 100%.
But because people not seeing the actual lynching going on. It's like, oh well, that's not what it is at all. No, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it is. See, we don't have to lynch like that anymore. So now we lynch by public opinion. We lynch by keeping you out of, places that you need to be in so you can eat.
Yep, exactly.
But I mean, I'm glad, Colin he's standing his ground. He's not. Oh yeah, I hate saying that. But and we'll get on that in a second, because that whole fucking Alec thing, man.
That's just scary.
That shit is fucking disgusting, man. I don't even know how to, but that lets you know how deep this country is wrapped up. But it's been like this. It's been like this forever. And until we start fighting and really, really outcrying about this shit, it's not going to change, because why should it?
Right.
It's unopposed.
And just to, because I need to put this out there for all my sports fans. For all y'all people out there that love these sports so much, and y'all still watch this and patronize and all of that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, y'all definitely part of the problem. Y'all are part of the problem in a big way, because because that just let that just let people know that this type of shit can go on. Like, a person can literally, get treated this way in the NFL, and y'all, and people feel some type of way about it for a week, and then they back to supporting the same shit. Like, fuck that. I'm not with that. I'm not with that at all. Like, that's corny to me.
The only sports I'll be watching is Ballers today on HBO. After we finish the show. It's as close as I'm getting sports.
That's what bothered me more so about the whole Kaepernick situation, because, like, I felt like, that was the perfect opportunity for everybody to get behind him, and say that, what, we feel the same fucking way. If we not, even his peers, like, we feel the same way, and we not playing until, something happens.
Yeah.
But, like, it's the fact that that's not happening lets me know that we dealing with a bigger issue.
Because everybody is like, I still gotta eat. I still gotta make my money. I can't, we're not willing to stick our necks out like that anymore for each other.
We need a strong show of force, like the Alabama bus boycott.
Look, let's just say it like it really is. If every black person tomorrow got up and left this MFR, this shit would just sink down into.
Yeah. You're the guy in Florida talking about go back to Africa. Our reparations came in the form of Barack Obama.
Yo, that shit was crazy.
Yeah,
I was like, really? Did he just say that? Like,
yes, he did. Go back to Africa.
And he actually, excuse me, I don't have to go back to Africa. My ancestors fucking built this country. I'll stay my ass right here.
I ain't never been to Africa. Fuck you, buddy. I'm born and bred right here. I have just as much right to this land as you do. What did
and probably more.
Right.
The Indian Bull and the Breakfast Club said I have the audacity of equality or something like that. I was born here, bred here. I'm an American tax-paying citizen.
That's right. Ain't leaving nowhere. If you want to go somewhere, pack your shit up and go back to wherever part of Scotland, or I think he was Italian. Take your ass back to fucking North Italy where you belong.
What are we doing?
You know what? While you talking about me being African, depending on what part of Italy your ass came from, you probably been infected by a Moor, your fucking self, and you probably black. Shut up.
That's just ridiculous.
Look, that shit right there. But I wasn't even shocked. But see, nowadays,
I wasn't either.
You're not really shocked because this shit is out. We're like back to square one with this crazy shit now. Mm-hmm. Every other day is fucking crazy race shit.
Right.
You now somebody's damn mouth like it's 1943 or something.
I said that's a distraction. That's a distraction from the monetary part, though.
Exactly.
And that's what it always has been.
Right. And like I said, it's crazy because it's not as blatant, it's not as graphic as it would have been back in the day.
Right.
So people just sit there and they like, well, it's not that big of a deal. I'm still making my money, so you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like that's the part that fucked me up about it, man. Like I don't like that. I don't respect it at all. Like, I mean, there's people still out here that just they watch sports and you know they get into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't like, you know, I was always into like, you know, basketball and football and stuff like that, you know, younger, but like as I got older, like I realized like the politics, like you just see like how certain people get treated because they don't follow the program, like Allen Iverson and people like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because this person don't follow the program of what we need them to do. You know, like we gonna make them look like this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying?
That's part of the reason I said I wanted to boycott the NBA too, because they did the same thing with Iverson. When the Black Lives Matter thing was popping off and those women in the WNBA wanted to protest, they like fought them on that until Melo spoke out of it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's back to, like you said, like, you know, painting us as, you know, the monster. I'm going to make an example out of him. He going to be perceived as this. He never going to be able to make another dollar. Because they're going to
vilify you instead of saying, well, you're not grateful for everything. You know, no. These are our fucking civil rights. I don't have to show you I'm grateful for my job and not also be a human being and not also stand up and fight for civil rights. That's ridiculous.
Right.
And you're an idiot if you think so. Well, that's first period, everybody.
Oh, wow.
You know what? In light of the topic, I think we're doing pretty good. Nobody has screamed or anything yet, besides me a couple of times. Like low level. But like nothing crazy. Like I think we're keeping level heads.
Woosah.
So, you know, we just gonna woosah. So let's talk about who's getting out to lunch today. Out to lunch is an understatement at this point for this show.
Man.
Who's getting out to lunch today?
I think we can all agree that it should go to the Clintons. Both of them motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, because of their crime bill. AKA the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994.
Created a whole new market.
So I actually was in college at that time. And I went to a protest. I went to a protest with my professor. Like part of my whole class went, and we went to protest the 3-strike rule. Of course, it didn't, do anything, but
no. At least you tried.
I was out there,
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Well, and folks that don't know, the crime bill and Clinton's war on crime, and the reason why they say that they did that, if you watch 13th, they talk about it very in-depthly. The reason why I did that is because they couldn't get elected away from these Republicans because they were talking all that,
law and order
bullshit. So they had to. So for Democrats to win, they had to come up with their own war on crime, talking point and and plan to implement so they could actually get elected. And what they wound up doing, like, put so many black and brown people in jail. It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
The 3-strike rule made it so that if you got 3 strikes, 3 felonies, you were in jail for the rest of your life, mandatorily.
That mandatory sentencing is a bitch.
Yep. And then they had the truth in sentencing where no matter what, like you couldn't be plead out. So if you were, or like you couldn't be paroled like that, you were gonna
85% of your sentence.
Yep, that was 85%. You were going to do 85% of your sentence. And we know who that shit was all proposed by. ALEC.
That's just
ALEC, or American Legislative Exchange Council, which that shit exists to this fucking day, as far as I know.
This had been around for 4 decades.
Yes.
I never heard of it.
ALEC elected the proposed those fucking bills that became those standard ground laws that got Trayvon Martin killed.
I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't behind Trump.
Look, and for all those who didn't see the movie, the American Legislative Exchange Council is a political lobbying group that writes bills mostly and then gives them to Republicans, largely Republicans, that are in the favor of corporations. So basically, they make rules or bills that become laws that help corporations make money. So those stand your ground laws were helping Walmart sell guns.
Some guns, yeah.
Yep.
Fucking Walmart.
And there was there's a group called the CCA that they talked about too, and the CCA is the Corrections Corporation of America, and they get rich off prisons. They're privatized.
They said they slowly pushing them out though. They ain't got a seat at the table no more.
Well, it's partly because they got fucking exposed. And that's what Michelle Alexander keeps talking about, and what she's talking about in that book. Once you get exposed, now they gotta figure out another way to fucking do a social control on you.
Yeah,
ain't that crazy?
Yeah, they talking about the GPS monitoring and the bell system now.
Well, because they outed us. We can't do this shit no more. So we had slavery gone. We had fucking convict leasing, that's gone. Then we had Jim Crow. Then civil rights came, that was gone. Then we had the prison industrial complex. So whatever they're doing now, because they're scrambling now. Because that shit, everything is out now where you can see it, because everybody got phones. So we exposing your ass left and right, because this shit was always going on. It just was not exposed in this manner. And you couldn't see.
Got body cams now.
But look, have you seen how they're state of fucking how Baltimore, Maryland has been fucking manipulating those body cams? Yo, man. Woo.
It's a lot going on.
Speaking of body cams, I was thinking about that too. Like how I don't know if y'all read it about it or not, but this white girl in Minnesota, let me see. She got killed by police, and they did like a little press conference or whatever, and they were talking about how they need to re-examine the way the Minnesota law enforcement handles people and all this other type of stuff. And I was like, wow.
You talking about that Australian woman?
Yeah.
They fired the police chief.
And it's like
a lawyer says she's the most innocent victim of police shooting I have ever seen.
Wow.
I wish I was there to punch him in his face.
Shut the fuck up, man. Go fuck yourself.
She's the most innocent victim of police shooting I've ever seen.
Oh, you know what?
That shit had me heated.
Really?
Yep.
Motherfucking 13-year-old boy getting shot who wasn't doing shit.
He's not innocent. Innocent is a cold word.
Right. Innocent fucking mean white. It just mean white. That's all it means.
Man, this shit. Like, is this really 2017? This is really 2017?
She's so white. She couldn't have done anything.
They
so white.
Blonde-haired white woman.
That shit is crazy. And you know what's killing me about the whole situation is that now, it's just it's one of those all lives matter situation where it's like now that something like this happened, you know, anytime you bring up Trayvon or anybody else like that, it's going to be like, well, you know, it's not just black people that's getting killed. Look what they did to this white woman. Like, man, fuck out of here. I don't have time for that.
No, we're talking about.
Oh man, they set her up on purpose so they had something to talk about.
We're talking about being adversely affected by this shit. Like, we talked about this, and I'm gonna say it now before we come off of the shit. Is 1 in 17. 1 in 17. One white man in 17 white man will be incarcerated in his lifetime in this country. For black men, it is 1 in fucking 3. 1 in 3. Get the fuck out of here with that fucking false equivalency bullshit. 1 in 3.
I've been thinking about these shootings a lot lately too, and like how we talking about like the prison industrial system and like you know how they keep talking about how the prisons are crowded and all that type of stuff, and you know like I think like the funding isn't the same as it used to be.
Yeah.
So
because Alec ain't back in the CCA no more.
Right. So like. So like that's what got me like thinking like these shootings and all of that, because it's probably a green light, you know what I'm saying? Like we can't bring them in anymore like we were doing before. We might as well just take them out.
That's why I said the cops got to be demilitarized. That's an important step right there. Like they should not, like it always grinds my gears. Like I could be at home in the hood, whatever, and I see 3 or 4 squad cars on my way to and from the corner store. But if I go out in the suburbs, like I gotta look for them motherfuckers. They ain't nowhere to be found.
Yep.
Yeah, go figure, right?
And they it's basically dudes out here looking for trouble. That's all they doing. They out here riding around with guns looking for trouble.
And they are like, even because you guys, so you know, I go up to the corner. I done seen 5 cop cars. Like it's from here to like I live on like 44. If I go to 44 up to like 35th, I done seen at least 5 or 6 cop cars by the time I going those few blocks.
They everywhere.
Right.
And I sometimes be looking at them like, what the fuck? What do you want?
Right. They out here looking for trouble. They ain't got nothing else to do. They riding around looking for trouble. Literally, that's their job description. Ride around and look for trouble. But
ain't you got to remember, as I was talking about earlier, and as we just started talking about for Out to Lunch, when you make it in someone's interest to be locking up folks, because a long time ago, you put these white people, mostly white people, as overseers. All these white folks that you gave their whiteness to, they made them overseers of us. Put them just a couple of steps, a hair tooth above us. And so that shit, their livelihood, their life, their everything is dependent. Their place in society is dependent. Some of these groups, like Alec, their money comes from prisons. So when you make this shit privatized, when you make this shit somebody's livelihood, hell yeah, looking for somebody to fucking do something. Because that shit is, their job is dependent upon that. You put them in a space where their whole life is about doing that.
Yeah,
and
right.
I don't mean serving it, because your job is really fucking supposed to be serving and protecting. But that's not what that shit really is.
No. It's all about
that
the green.
Shit is an extension of that fucking. No, that shit is an extension of that fucking overseeing from way back in the day.
Right. Like Anthony said, like that, the whole perception is like different if you go to, you know, other neighborhoods. You go to a more suburban neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? You know, basically, if you see the cops doing the same thing in those neighborhoods as they doing, you know what I'm saying, in black and brown neighborhoods, that shit is called harassment. That's harassment. That's harassment in another type of neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? But because it's happening in neighborhoods that's considered, you know, poverty stricken,
predators.
super predators, that type of shit.
Yo, man, get the fuck out of here. You know, in both the book and in the 13th documentary and in the new Jim Crow, they both show statistically that white men are more likely to do drugs and get involved in drug-related crimes than black men are.
Oh, trust me, I know.
That shit is more demonization, so you can continue to subjugate us. That's all it fucking is.
Right.
All it is. But, of course, we don't necessarily help that shit.
No.
And that's what we're gonna talk about now. We're coming out. We're coming out of lunch. Unfortunately, now we gotta talk about us. So too many of us don't fucking know how to act right.
At all.
Excellent segue.
Well, we don't, because, and y'all know this is true because we talk about this on the fucking show all the damn time.
But they talked about it on the 13th too.
Yep.
He said like, you strip away a whole generation of leaders and we're not prepared to defend ourselves now.
Nope.
Like everybody, they killed everybody, locked up everybody else.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, that's true because now who do we have leading us? Future and a face-off man.
Oh my God.
But like, don't that, like, I feel like that kind of go back to the conversation we had about, like, you know, like being made an example of, not to compare, like, you know, more stronger political figures to people like Michael Vick or anything, but like that affects us too. Like when you see like Malcolm X and, you know, the Huey P's and Bobby Seals and Martin Luther King, when you see them getting shot down and you know, treated a certain way, you know what I'm saying, because they tried to speak out on certain things, it kind of like brings like a certain type of hopelessness to the situation. Like,
yeah,
it's the public whippings all over again.
That, yeah, it's like Aunt just said, it's like being tied to the tree and
whipped in front of your family.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. My problem is, like, why don't people see it that way though? Like, I feel like a lot of people don't see that's what's being happened. That's what was happening around that time. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it was easier to see then than it is now. Like I said, like now they use money as the weapon.
Now money's involved.
And that's what I was just getting ready to say. You hit the nail on the head, because we allowed ourselves to be, our values to be infiltrated, and we traded, just like I always talk about, we always talk about on this show, about how we traded in the love of this culture for money. And when you allow money to come in and be a factor, then our whole community right now is overrun with the disease of greed and this endless race for money. It's like they don't give a fuck what their what values are. They're on social media talking off fucking money phone.
Right. That shit is crazy.
And then, like, even though we give Jay-Z grief, like we're talking about, we give him grief, but I mean, we agree with the money phone shit.
I always
do that.
I always
do that. You got Boozy Badass telling him to whatever, Jay-Z. You got Drake coming up behind, like, whatever, I'm about to get on this fake money phone. Fuck what you talk about.
Right, exactly. And like that's a constant thing now. It's like, you know, like you can't tell me what to do or dictate. And I feel like that's a childish response to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but that's the thing, is his grown man. These are, everybody now is a child. They're not adults. They're not mature.
Yeah, it is a childish response. But at the same time, like, you know, they pushing the narrative to, you know, these kids that don't know any better. That's, you know, that look at them like, oh well, you know, Drake probably know what he's talking about more so than his old head. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing.
Fuck outta here.
And it's like, no, but that's what's going on. Y'all know how I go. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but it's about money. He got way more money than Drake. So who would you be listening to?
Right. That's why I like this whole album, because even though he may be pandering, he's the right person to get his message.
I agree with it because he has the more money.
He's more influential. He's a staple to the culture.
Monetarily, yes.
But you got these like these dimwits, like academics, saying shit like, you know, well, you know, like people want to see the money. Like, you know, Jay-Z not the type of person, well, not nowadays at least. You know what I'm saying, to be showing you, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, how much he worth and all that type of stuff. And like nowadays,
I mean, you see every year on the Forbes list.
You really do.
See, but that's where
that's all you need to fucking
pay attention. That's where people that pay attention to the Forbes list. Like, we talking about, like,
everybody should pay attention to that.
This generation now not looking that deep. Like, they gotta go on the gram and see you with that bread. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? It gotta be some physical type of evidence.
I don't know, Aaron, 'cause I definitely see the thoughts and the ones tricking off, or you know, or trying to get the trick off on them. They could shoot off the fucking Forbes list to you. It's the dudes that must not know, because some of these Instagram.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. I think it's more so the guys.
Oh, brother.
But
he's right. Like, work on your fucked up credit and your fucked up teeth.
Yeah.
And stop talking on a damn money phone, okay? We're way too enthralled with money in the first place. That shit is not gonna save you. In fact, it's gonna snatch your fucking soul, and you're gonna be walking around looking like you dead behind the eyes.
Hip-hop gotta get back to that knowledge itself.
Yes. I don't know. And I mean, it didn't start now. I'm not even gonna lie about that. I was telling y'all before, because y'all was like, oh, I don't remember. Look, that shit's been going on since forever. Because, like, even last week I was talking to somebody about our Mobb Deep show, and I was like, go listen to the Prodigy show, because we were talking about my infamous life. And he said, even though Mobb Deep ain't never had no street cred back in the day. And that was a thing.
Why did you say that?
Yeah.
And why they didn't have street cred? Because they haven't been to jail.
Oh, right. Wow. Yep. That's what it all comes. Yep. That's what it all comes down to, especially these days.
But I'm saying that was the fucking 90s, and the same thing with all the rest of them. Like, you know, I mean, look at Nas's One Love. He shouts out for making in jail. The whole song is about being in jail. Like, that shit has been going on forever. That's your street cred right there. Haven't been in prison.
That's what's so crazy about that particular era too, because like I feel like back then, you know what I'm saying, like you know, for like street cred, like, you know what I'm saying, this person actually been to jail, so by default that makes him the better rapper, like, you know what I'm saying. So somebody like Anthony that's like, oh man, I fuck with Cormega because I feel like he spit better than, you know, this person on this track, or he rap better than this person on this track, and then somebody else would just give it to him based on the fact that he the only one out of Mobb Deep and Nas that actually been to jail. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they'll give it to him based on that.
He living that shit he be spitting.
Right.
That shit is so remedial.
That shit is crazy.
But I mean, but that's literally the way it fucking is, though, and it's like that, and that's the way it is. For real. I'm not even joking. Like, that shit has been that way for some time. Like, I remember when NWA was out, like, they started calling them out to see which one, and it was like, oh, okay, he's a drug dealer, so all right.
Right. Yeah.
It was like, oh man, like, seriously, yep, because you can't talk reality shit or any of that. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't come out and talk reality shit or any of that stuff unless you actually been to jail, or you had a prison record, or you was a drug dealer, or
Yep,
I mean, I get it. You shouldn't be talking about that shit if you didn't do, but at the same time, you can't be like hard if you haven't been to prison.
Yeah. Maybe you're just smarter than the rest. You're harder to catch. Like, what type of shit?
Or you just didn't engage.
Like, come on, we gotta do better.
And what's crazy about it, the whole like that whole culture, like that prison culture and rap, is that it got to the point where it got so bad where, like, you know, if you a group like Tribe Called Quest, or you know what I'm saying, you a Mos Def or somebody like that, you irrelevant to the situation, because it's like you're not even on top of the fact, you know what I'm saying, that you didn't go to jail, you're not talking that shit. So it's like why are you even rapping? Like, that's the perception. It's like,
but that's, you know, what happened during my era, basically during that like that whole period where everything started turning commercial. If you hadn't had a prison record or been to jail, because, like, remember Tupac, same thing. Tupac he didn't get all that love and respect till he fucking went to jail.
Ain't that crazy? That shit is crazy.
Ridiculous. What's cool about jail?
Nothing.
They love it in that joint. They love it.
There ain't shit to love in jail, okay?
Ain't that much cheese in the world.
Look.
Yo.
The other thing we ain't talk about is they make you fucking, all that labor you do, all that fucking free labor that those fucking corporations get off your back. That's the other reason why everybody, you know, they want everybody in jail. Cause if you knew half these corporations that was making money off motherfuckers in jail,
they said,
you have to stop.
Walmart.
Look, JC Penney was on that list.
Helmet.
And then they all like hop off when they get caught. You know.
Yeah. That whole prison culture and rap shit is like, that shit is detrimental. And it doesn't help that, you know, we so quick, like you said, we so quick to sell out to the dollar, that a motherfucker that really wasn't even about that life sell that shit to the kids. You know what I'm saying? Because I know people don't like to admit it, but like, that's who it's being sold to initially. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's the next generation that's gonna come up and they're gonna take it and run with it like that. Yep. Like, you got rappers that sell out so quick and sell that shit straight to the kids. And on top of the fact, like, we already being demonized. We've been demonized for years, and y'all helping the situation by
just being right the fuck into it.
Yeah, that putting this image out, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, this is gangster and I've been to jail and I'm out, and these other rappers can't talk about it because they haven't, and they not even rappers because they haven't been to jail. Like, that shit is crazy.
Yo, I'm gonna say it one more time, because Ann said it last week. Fuck Future.
Fuck Future. Capital F on both phrases if you want. Fuck Future.
I don't care if he knows. We don't like you. Now, when we were watching that documentary the other day about Atlanta, and he started talking about how when you want to get out of, because, I mean, I could tell he's fucking dead behind the eyes now. I get it. He ain't got no soul. Because he was talking about what he would live through and how many people was on drugs and how many people did drugs, how many people sold drugs, and he was around. He like Vince Staples. Like, they grew up in that shit. Like, they don't have a soul.
Right.
They need to like go to the fucking wizard and get a soul. But
it's not.
But seriously, he was talking about, if you was in this, you would do whatever it took to get out, including if that means using whoever, even your best friend. He's like, you your best. That means he doesn't give a shit.
Right.
He doesn't give a shit.
And like I said, like for people that know better, and then, like, you know, especially older people, you know what I'm saying, that seen like the effects of it already. Like, it's certain people that get it, it's certain people that's older that don't get it. But I feel like it's more of us that do. When he's saying shit like that, like, that's being fed to these young kids out here. Yep. that's growing up in the same situation. And they relating to that. They like, Future right. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no other option but to live this way to get out of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
I feel like
it is not true. It's not true.
I feel like you gotta try mighty hard to disregard the truth behind this shit because everything is so easily accessible on the internet and whatnot. Like it's common knowledge now the shit that's going on.
It is, but that depends on what people are checking for. It's like,
and
remember
on your fucking reality. Like if your reality is as how Future said it, that shit's not gonna fucking mean anything to you.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta try to ignore that other shit. Like you gotta choose that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, true, definitely. It's like, and I seen that shit back in the day too. Like back when we was in school. And everybody was talking about Meek Mill. Everybody Meek Mill this, Meek Mill that. And like I would be in the libraries after school and kids is in there on the computer looking up Meek Mill freestyles, Meek Mill videos, and this is and fight videos. All they watching is fight videos of Meek Mill. And it's like this is what people are feeding themselves non-stop. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the brainwashing shit come in, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why like I was telling Anthony the other day, like I understand like what Kendrick was saying where he like, you know, I used to want to see the penitentiary way after elementary. It's like because like if that's all you're being fed, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, shit, that's a rite of passage. That's what's supposed to happen because I've seen it happen so many times. You know, like that's the type of mindset that forms.
We talked about this before. This shit is not by accident because we've had this discussion before, and we're gonna further the discussion when we talk about when we have the Bro Man show. You know, because love is for bros.
And Sir Whitaker.
Love is for bros and women are hoes, and that's the narrative.
Dog, no. No man talk.
No man talk. No. Forrest Whitaker, all of that stupid shit. All of that gets to Forrest Whitaker right there, aka side eye. But we don't subscribe to that shit. But you have to remember, everything is meant to filter you back to that fucking prison industrial complex. So yes, this shit, our music has been infiltrated and it has been used to help filter your ass right back to that prison. Because if all you're on is a steady fucking diet of this shit, you're angry as shit. You're gonna be out in the street doing illegal shit, trying to get all this money. Your ass is going right fucking straight to prison because you're living in an animalistic fashion. That means you're not vibrating at a higher level. Your mind is not moving at a conscious level. Okay? You're not thinking about the things you do. You are just in animalistic, low-level mode. One day, we're going to talk about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs on this show. But when you're in that last rung, like the very bottom rung of Maslow's theory, the only thing you're worried about is very low level basic shit, and that means you're operating at a base level. You're going to be animalistic. You're going to be doing things that are illegal, probably because those will be the things that will be afforded to you, and you will be channeled right back into that prison system with this fucking music you're listening to. And I don't give a shit who wants to say, like, academics, it's just music. No, the fuck it isn't. No, it isn't.
It's gonna be people.
Fucking, go ahead.
It's gonna be people right now saying that you hating right now. They saying you hating.
I don't give a shit. That shit either feeds your soul or it works to your detriment. That shit is a slow burn. It's like what you eat. You may not die today from what you eat. Okay? Music feeds your soul in the same way that food feeds your body.
Right. In Future and 21 Garbage, they feeding you that cake and ice cream.
I can't.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Y'all gonna be obese soon.
You gonna be in jail, fatting in jail. Wearing a polka dot shirt.
This is a depressing episode.
And you heard me?
Huh?
I said you gonna be overweight and in jail wearing a polka dot shirt.
Yep, that's how it's gonna go down.
Mr. Brown looking ass.
Hey yo.
Talk about you gonna eat that cornbread? I don't want to joke about that because that's not funny, but
yeah, I know y'all like jumping on Future, but that 21 garbage ass boy, he had another one like that pisses me off heavily because he does the same exact thing that I was just talking about, like, you know, like talking shit about, you know, people that, oh, he ain't hard, this person ain't hard. Every other song he talking about who not hard, who not real,
because they ain't been in jail, because he been in jail already.
Who need to be talking about this?
Word on the street is he really lived that lifestyle.
No, he did. But
yeah,
so
he
did.
What? But that's the thing. It's like, you know, because I really live that life. You know what I'm saying? Like these
you not
other
hard.
Yeah, you ain't hard.
You shouldn't be glorifying it though.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. Cause that shit is making that bread for him, and that's all they care about. Look, they can't even be bothered. The ones who've been in jail and who haven't can't even be bothered to make a fucking coherent song that actually matches the title of the damn song. So why would they care about not talking about shit to the fucking detriment of that damn community? Seriously. That shit is just like, I can't. Like, we got a really long ass list on this show. It's getting horribly long.
We do. I hope we don't have to have a part 2 for this, though.
It's just getting bad out here.
It's getting bad.
So that's second period. So I know we wanted to do recess and we wanted to talk about somebody who was doing like the opposite of all this shit.
There's not many people out there though.
Unfortunately, there are not. There really aren't. But we did kind of look at Chance the Rapper.
Dun, dun, dun.
Why you do that? Don't do that to Chance.
He might deserve it. I don't know. I'm hearing some things.
But no, don't you puppy him. Damn it, finally don't get through a show without saying puppy. Oh my God, we can't even do one show without him. The fucking prison show has his name in it. What the fuck? Okay, wait a minute.
I'm hearing some things. I don't know, man.
Look. At this point, I ain't heard nobody say no shit like this. Chance said, because
I'm calling it.
No, here in Chicago, there's work being done to legislate, pass some, take some bills and make them into laws about legalizing weed. Here, medicinally, it's already legal, but recreationally, it's not. And they want to make it recreationally legal here. And it's going to bring, of course, a bunch of, like, $1 trillion of revenue in here. So that's the first thing they want to do. But Chance the Rapper said, you know what? When you make that shit legal, you better make some laws, okay, to release all those black and brown people that were adversely affected by that shit. You need to let them go out of jail, and you need to expunge their fucking record so they can get out there and be, you know, productive as citizens. And you can't be dragging them through the mud and making them 3rd and 4th class citizens with your fucked up, trumped up laws. And I haven't personally heard anybody open their mouth to say anything like that.
Right. It's coming down the pipe. I feel it.
You know, so I'm going to champion him. We don't.
Yeah. Round of applause. Round of applause for Chad.
Yay! We don't know about the impending doom yet, and okay, we haven't gotten any word really on what happened between him and the Justice League and whoever the low level people was that he said he paid. We don't know yet. Okay.
I'm calling it.
No, don't call it. You know what? I feel like everybody hating on him right now because he's even gonna help save SoundCloud as far as we know, and we like that shit because our platform is affected by it.
I better at least get my money back.
No, we need him to be the Jay-Z of SoundCloud. I need him to do the same thing that Jay-Z did with Tidal.
He might pull it off.
Look, if he puts his name on it, I bet you people will actually start paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see.
And I feel like people like him, people like my boy Killer Mike.
See, I'm telling you, Chance Suge Knight all over again.
My boy Killer Mike is the same way. He's always talking about shit like that. Laws and politics that are gonna help us and not hinder us from doing shit we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
No. We gotta start paying attention to people who have our fucking best interests at heart.
Killer Mike makes excellent points.
He does. He knows his shit too.
Yeah.
How y'all feel about him on the Bernie Sanders thing?
He put his money on the wrong horse?
I don't think so.
Bernie wanted too much at one time.
I voted for Bernie too.
I did too. I met him at Rand Terminal. But he wanted too much at one time.
I mean, I feel like I always feel like politics is, for us is always just, the lesser of a degree of evils.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no getting around that. But, I always like what Bernie had to say. I'm still fucking around with Bernie. I followed him to see what he does. To me, he's my president. I don't really look at the other dude. I don't even know what he's doing. Besides being a liar.
Bernie's still on the front line.
He is. He out there. That's how you're supposed to be as somebody who's a politician. I like that shit better, and I don't care. I don't expect a politician or even a person. Everybody's talking about, well, he's crooked too. Fucking name me a person that's not. People are fucked up. They just are.
That's true. Human nature.
I don't know any sucked up people. So if you can find somebody who's as minimally fucked up as Bernie, I'ma take that. That's what I'ma take. I'll take it.
Okay.
He doesn't look as old in person either, by the way.
Look, I think he's spry. I think your president right now, he the one that's old and he loses his mind.
He's unhealthy.
Oh gosh.
You mean President Baby Hands?
He's unhealthy.
I can't. No, I definitely I know.
Boondocks episode.
Look, we all know we in the Truman Show. Every day, all day.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's been like that though. It's been like that. We just seeing it all now because it's on the internet. It's on everybody's phone now, so it look crazier.
Well, if you were really paying attention, you always knew this shit was going on.
Yeah.
And you can't go nowhere because we can't go back to Africa because that shit tainted in a motherfucker. And there's no place, like I told y'all before, that colonialism has not fucking had its nasty hands on. So there ain't no fucking where for you to go. You need to do whatever you gotta do where you at.
So you mean we can't go for Umar?
Look, you can go for Umar if you want. I don't know if that's gonna help.
That'll never get taken seriously.
I don't know if a full Umar is gonna do it for you, but you know, let Umar tell
You'll
it.
feel better afterwards.
Everybody be a Garveyite. You know, everybody do that because that's gonna help you. It's not gonna help you.
Yeah, make sure your ancestry is straight.
Oh no. That's not gonna matter if you go over there and everybody fucking hates you.
I know. Ain't that crazy? I was watching that video you sent. That shit is crazy.
I mean, your ass is fucking American. You're American.
Yeah.
You think you're gonna walk over there and be like, look, I'm black like y'all. They gonna be like, the fuck?
Laugh you out the place. That want nothing to do with us.
But just some of the shit and the customs and things that they're probably doing over there, you're gonna be like, the fuck is y'all doing?
I'm not ready to hunt chicken.
Look, I read somebody's comments on some of those videos, and they were talking about how they were married to somebody. I'm not gonna say what island they were from. Anyway, the woman owed one woman owed his mother-in-law like money, and then because she couldn't pay her, she turned her 6-year-old daughter over to her.
Childish payment.
Yes.
It's crazy.
I was like, the fuck?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Y'all don't want to know the shit that's going on in places that's not this country. Seriously. You best, and I know black folks want to build. Look, we were talking about that too. You're going to have to fight. It's always going to be a fight. Unfortunately. Because, I mean, the same thing happens when you try to build shit in black communities, too. Like, this shit all gets torn down on you. They seize it and build roads over it. They do not want you to build or get any empowerment at all.
No assets. We got to be persistent, though.
We need to be working in larger numbers, but we need to be doing it in conjunction with a whole lot of people who are like us.
Right. Yeah, I always say that that's the issue. Like, that's the bigger issue. Like, because people, it's just like with like how we talk about rap music and how like, oh, it's no decent rap music out here. Everybody's a mumble rapper. Everybody, you know, and it's like, but there's decent artists out here. It's just that it's not that camaraderie.
It's not prevalent.
You know? Yeah, it's not that camaraderie that, you know, you would have had like years ago to put that on the forefront. Like, everybody out for their own, everybody out for themselves. You know what I'm saying? That's why I do appreciate like when Talib Kweli do stuff, like he always got some type of collaboration and you know, stuff like that to bring people in, you know what I'm saying, to that share his vision on a certain topic or whatever. Like that's dope to me. Even, I don't know if y'all seen it, he did a show I was looking at online, and he was like and like somebody in his crowd, I think this is around the time when Lil Wayne was popping, and somebody in the crowd was saying like fuck Lil Wayne or whatever, and he was like, look, it's not gonna be any of that at my show. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, you know, he an artist, like I'm an artist, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just because you don't respect his music, don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought that was dope.
That means we can't scream fuck Future at his show?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Probably quick to say, I'm a grown man, he can't tell me how to think. I'm a grown man, he can't tell me how to think.
I mean, that's a little different. Like, you know, we on our own platform, but I respect that. I respect, like, you know, that he that he did that, because a lot of times what we do is we promote the fact that we divided a lot of times when we, you know, like when we, like, you know,
have our different opinions about shit.
Yeah, when we have our different opinions, but like he didn't like encourage his fans to, you know, like
just outright just Wayne.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I thought that was kind of dope.
Yeah. I wouldn't go to a Talib show and scream I wouldn't even bring 21 Garbage or, you know, Future or Yachty into that conversation. Like, I wouldn't be even talking about them at a Talib call.
Last thing on my mind. On my mind.
Exactly.
Like I don't know. Sometimes that shit seems like it's trolling. Almost.
Yeah, that's really what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that he nipped it in the bud. But that was cool.
Yeah, that is cool. So homework. Next show we're gonna be doing our list show for conscious rappers. So we're gonna be giving our probably top 5. I don't see the three of us being able to get a top 10 list in between the three of us. It's just not gonna work.
Dylan.
I spit hot fire. So you know, get your favorite conscious rappers together. See how your list compares to our list. I already know that number 1 on Anthony's list is going to be Black Thought. Without even having
top 5 that are alive. What's my regular top 5?
Wait a minute, we talking top 5 conscious rappers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. That's interesting.
Top 5
I don't think I ever thought about that. I got like a top 5, but like there's people in there that's not considered conscious.
Top 5, just conscious rappers. Conscious rappers only.
Most of my top 5 fit on that list.
And I think number 5 for Anthony will be Vince Staples.
Oh gosh, don't say that. Don't say that.
Well, you know, he's trying to put that out there. He trying to be conscious. He trying to uplift the people, man.
Whatever. He said he don't want to be called that shit anyway, as we said before. So I don't even know how they keep putting him in the conversation for a conscious rapper.
I didn't realize he was considered a conscious rapper.
They were trying to tell him as a conscious rapper. I don't know where that shit was coming from, but
you know what that is though? That's people settling for mediocrity. It's like I said, like we got all this bullshit. Like you listening to all this bullshit. So like when you hear somebody like Vince Staples, all he gotta say is a few words. You know what I'm saying? That it's not about shit, but you know, it's something that, you know, somebody can be like, oh, okay, he got some type of perspective on something. So it's like, oh yeah, he conscious. Of course he conscious compared to 21 Savage. Like, get the fuck out of here. That shit crazy. Like, I ain't with that.
Yeah, you can't. That's not anybody to compare anybody to, though.
Right, right. But that's not the perception, though, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, we have people out here who say things like, you know, like now, like I told you, people who have told me plenty of times before that they like a certain MC now, or they like this one or that one because they can understand what they're saying.
Yeah, like that's where we at with it now.
That's not no. Or, you know, 21 Garbage will tell you that if everybody were lyrical, everybody would sound the same. Except for the fact that everybody was lyrical at one point and no one sounded the fucking same.
Right.
Sounding the same as Taboo.
But now they're not lyrical and they all fucking sound the same. What the fuck? Okay. They're not lyrical now and I can't tell one from the fucking next. Seriously. Not really.
They all the same.
And they scared the fucking death not to be auto-tuned. The fuck? You scared to death to use your own voice to rap with.
Yes.
Or do whatever it is you doing, because this shit don't rhyme no way.
In the words of Tyrion Lannister, I wish I could poison the whole pack of them.
That was very nice. Who didn't get that GOT reference right there?
Oh man.
Me, I don't watch GOT.
Man.
Shout out to everybody who's gonna watch GOT as soon as they stop listening to this show.
Hell yeah.
So that's the show, but we still want to stress, all three of us, if you haven't watched 13th, yes, fuck Future, that's first. If you have not watched 13th by Ava DuVernay, or you have not read The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, please make sure you do both of those things. They are necessary for your mental health and growth. Okay?
Yes.
Need that shit. And Michelle Alexander is prominently featured in 13. Okay, so a lot of the things that she talks about in 13 are extensively expounded upon further in her book, The New Jim Crow. She lays that shit right down the line. You really gotta read that. So that's our show. We hope it didn't get too brown this week, but no, this was a serious topic and we had to tackle it with a little more grit than normal.
No, yeah, it was rough.
We got through it, and now we're on. The Insecure. Now I get to see what Issa's doing.
Oh yeah, that dude come back too. Damn, I gotta watch 2 shows tonight.
She's going through her whole phase.
Yeah, Issa Rae. That's my girl. Anthony, I'm gonna have to rewatch that. What's the name? The Everyday Struggle to see if Issa Rae looked really uncomfortable for real.
She was like academics as if she recorded.
Yeah, I gotta watch that too.
Wait a minute. She recorded what? She recorded
herself having sex to practice for the role, for like practice having sex on herself.
Oh, wait a minute, I must have missed that part. I don't remember that. All I remember was them asking her what drink smelled like.
That was weird. That was weird.
Like, oh.
No, it was at the beginning of the episode. Academic asked for a hug. He asked her for a hug.
He asked her for a hug.
Awkward ass nigga.
He was like, here, come give me a hug. I was like, oh.
Awkward ass. Yeah, he weirdo.
Academics, why? Yeah. Leave her alone. You know what though? I feel like, and I hate to say this, I love Issa Rae.
Me too.
I feel like she's like the natural, like blackity black girl that like the one that everybody is okay with being natural and blackity black.
She real with it.
No, it's like not in a good way. Like she's the one. No, that should be more than fucking one. But I feel like she's like their poster child. She's like their poster child for. Oh, okay, she's that one natural girl that I wouldn't mind boning. Like that's what I feel like, and I hate to say that.
What about what's the name from The Walking Dead?
Because it shouldn't fucking be like that at all.
From The Walking Dead. Yeah, Michonne.
I don't know if they look at her like that.
Yeah, I don't think she got the same. I don't think she get the same response.
Oh, she's magically delicious too.
Yeah, she's alright.
But see, and I'm saying she's beautiful, but I'm saying like you're in a different headspace. You know what I mean? I'm talking about to us at large. Like I need us to open our mind and expand our shit out to where we start seeing it, a lot more shit to be beautiful.
Yeah.
So then you wouldn't be trying to hump Issa Rae's leg when she come on fucking television.
Hey yo.
He tried it.
I mean, the same like when she went on to Breakfast Club. Well, you know, Charlamagne is always Charlamagne.
Charlamagne.
He do that to every damn body.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, so, all right. And school is officially out. We got TV to watch.
Holla.
We gotta get back to our lives.